It was the kind of summer that lived forever in childhood. Memories, warm breezes, sun-dappled trails, and nights by the campfire. Black Hollow Summer Camp, hidden deep in the dense forests of Vermont, had just opened for the 1998 season. Tents were pitched. Laughter echoed through the trees, and the scent of roasted marshmallows filled the air. But on the third night, something changed. It started with whisper, faint at first, like the wind brushing leaves, but more intentional. At least that's how 12-year-old Nathan described it. He swore he heard his name being called from the tree line behind Cabin D, even though no one was there. Others soon reported the same. Voices murmuring from the woods, indistinct, yet strangely personal, always just beyond the reach of light. One camper claimed she saw shadows pacing outside the tents long after light. Tall figures that didn't match any counselor's silhouette. Another boy said he woke to the sound of someone breathing heavily next to his bedroll, except when he looked. There was no one there, only his flashlight flickering weakly and the cold night pressing in. The counselors chalked it up to overactive imaginations and scary stories told around the fire. Bhai, the animals were uneasy too. Birds stopped singing near camp, and a deer was found at the edge of the clearing, its eyes wide open, neck twisted unnaturally, as if it had died. By the end of the week, one of the cabins had been abandoned. B. The kids inside demanded to be moved after waking 2 scratches on the inside of their windows, 3 long marks, dug deep into the wood from the inside. Despite the eerie happenings, no one was hurt, and the camp went on. But not a single camper returned the next year. Even now, if you ask the locals about Black Hollow, they'll change the subject. So, what really haunted those woods that summer? A ghostly presence watching the children. Something older, darker, that lives just beneath the soil. Or were the whispers nothing more than the power of suggestion under a canopy of trees? You decide. Snap. That was the sound that started it, all sharp, unnatural, and far too close. It came from just beyond the line of pine trees that bordered the boys' cabins. Some said it was a branch breaking. Others insisted it sounded more like something stepping on a skull. 12-year-old Lucas Meyer was last seen that evening during the final campfire session. He sat, cross-legged, poking at the glowing embers with a stick, eyes distant. When asked if he was okay, he just whispered, "I heard it again last night," whispering under the floorboards. Nobody thought much of it. Quiet. Lucas had always been a quiet kid, sensitive, prone to strange dreams. That night, when the final bell rang and campers filed back into their cabins, Lucas never showed. This search began at dawn. Rangers, dogs, volunteers, they swept the entire forest. Bhai found his flashlight at the edge of the ravine, still warm to the touch, but no signs of a fall, no broken branches, just a single set of barefoot tracks leading into the woods, and none coming back out. Stranger still, Each counselor claimed they heard something different echoing through the trees during the search. One swore they heard someone humming a lullaby. Another heard a child laughing. Even though the forest had been cleared of campers, one ranger even turned pale and said he heard his own mother's voice calling his name, even though she'd been dead for 5 years. After 2 days, the official search was called off. The camp shut down early that summer. But the unease never left. The cavern Lucas slept in remained locked, untouched. Every now and then, hikers passing through Pine Rock claimed to hear a voice calling from deep within the trees. Bhai, a boy's voice, quiet, lonely, repeating a single question. Did you hear it too? To this day, no one knows what happened to Lucas Meyer. No body, no clues, no closure, just a flashlight and a question that still chills the air. Some stories stay buried for a reason. This one still makes people lower their voices when they speak of it. It's not just disturbing, it's wrong. Like something that wasn't supposed to exist slipped into our world, even for a moment. Hollow Creek Youth Retreat, nestled at the base of a forgotten Colorado hillside, was meant to be a place for healing a week of nature, silence, and reflection. Bhai. In July of 2010, something else came out of those hills. It began with flickering motion detectors. Lights on the cabins would click on at random during the night. Even though no one was outside, campers complained of dreams, dark woods, black water, and a tall, formless shadow watching them from the trees. Some even claimed it followed them into their dreams, standing just beyond reach, its face always hidden. Then came the incident. A 17-year-old camper named Erin was caught standing at the edge of the retreat grounds. At 2:43 a.m., eyes wide open, staring into the woods, a counselor found her barefoot in the cold, lips trembling, but silent. When asked what she was doing, she finally whispered, "B told me not to move. If I run, it'll follow me back." Security footage from that night, what little survived after the power said show something no one can explain. Just beyond the floodlights reach, a figure stands. No features, no color, just absence. It doesn't move. It doesn't blink. But for 12 full minutes, it stands completely still, watching. The next day, Erin refused to speak. She left camp early and never returned. Years later, in a rare interview, she finally said, "It didn't want to hurt me. It wanted to be remembered." Some say it was a hallucination, mass hysteria, a trick of fear in a remote forest. But others, especially those who worked there that week, swear they felt it too, like being watched by something ancient, something not quite human. So, what was the shadow figure? A projection of collective fear, a spirit born from old grief and silence, or something far worse, something real that waits quietly at the edge of the fire, watching until you look away.